introduction about Zena here. Zena is a California State Monterey Bay University graduate and holds a vocational certificate in intuition medicine studies. She currently resides in Mill Valley, California, and works as a medical assistant and front desk representative at an integrative medical clinic. We met at the Depot Cafe, an iconic cafe and bookstore with popular personalities and hippie folks, and a courtyard that became an impromptu comedy show featuring the late Robin Williams. Reminiscing about the spiritual connections we made in 2017 at the Academy of Intuition Studies, now watching her Insta vids of her new hip hop dance moves and seeing posts of her walks to work, Zena is really in her element. And I am happy I've gotten to know her through it all. 8 years later and 750 miles apart, we still have to find the time to connect. Hearing what Zena's been doing at her clinic during this time has made me think she would be a great person to interview and share her story. So now, without further ado, this is Zena. Hello, Zena. How's it going?
Hi, it's well. How are you today, Sarah?
Doing well. So, who's Zena McCartney? Give me a little bio about yourself.
Okay, so hi, my name is Zena McCartney. I am a graduate of Cal State Monterey Bay, 2016. I studied practical and professional ethics. And after school, that has led me to doing an integrative medical clinic. During this time in my integrative medical clinic, I have been going to school to be an intuitive healer. And I have used this ability to help with my patients that I deal with on a daily basis, as well as my own personal growth. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of people ask what intuition is. That's a kind of a lofty word. Intuition is basically when people say, trust your gut or trust your instinct. A lot of times we get these conscious realizations within our brain that are telling us one thing. Like, for example, something really simple is don't cross the street. And then all of a sudden someone runs a red light. That's your intuition or your conscious voice telling you something. And the practice that I have had with the Academy of Intuition Medicine has taught me to listen to my inner voice more and to practice this. And this has helped a lot with me being able to help other people, especially in the holistic field I am in now at the medical clinic I work at. And so in the clinic I work at, there is Eastern and Western medicine. So it combines like Ayurvedic, homeopathic with Western pharmaceutical medicine. And through the joining of both of these things, there's even balance in helping people with a variety of different situations. Chronic fatigue, Lyme disease, cancer, autoimmune disorders. And recently we've been doing COVID-19 antibody testing too.
Oh, wow. So, yeah. That's great. Okay, Zena, and how have you had to adapt to the crisis in your present position at the Integrative Health Center?
So at first, we went into lockdown on March 16th here in the San Francisco Bay Area, and our clinic was closed down for about a week. During that time, I was working remotely with patients. So we were still open, but we were remote. When we came back into the office, we had to reschedule all of the patients to be on telemedicine, which is basically Zoom, which is compliant with HIPAA, which is privacy law. And so I had to get that set up for our doctors. And that is what we've been doing going forward. The only time that the patients are actually seen in person is if there's a real medical issue that needs to be addressed at that time. Besides that, all patients are over the phone. We have been open since the beginning of April doing other treatments. We have a red infrared light bed, and we also have an ozonated sauna that are two different things that patients have been using, as well as we do IVs and injections. And we have opened with stricter social distancing guidelines. And I can get more into that if you'd like me to.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So basically, we have maintained the 6 feet of distance for precautions in place. And also, we have been giving patients gloves when they enter the facility, as well as hand sanitizer. And only patients who have like IVs, there can only be a certain amount of people in the lounge at once. I think the max is 3. They have to be 6 feet apart. We're also doing this protocol where we're wiping everything down with rubbing alcohol. And then after we do that, we spray everything down with rubbing alcohol and we let it sit. And this is through the CDC, which is what they have asked medical facilities to do in compliance. And then we're obviously sanitizing pens and doing fewer of these treatments for patients. So patients are still getting medical help, but they're not being seen by the doctors in person. And so, yeah.
Great. Now, you had mentioned that you guys are doing antibody tests the last time we talked. Can you kind of describe a little bit about what that is and how you guys are implementing that in your practice?
Yeah, so we are doing COVID-19 antibody testing. There is 3 different strains of COVID that are being tested. One is the IgG, the other is the IgGM, and then the other is the IgG. And so it's not testing actively if you have COVID in your system. So if you've been symptomatic in the past 14 days, fatigue, fever, sore throat, you are not allowed into our clinic. We do have to ask these questions to patients before they schedule an appointment, and it's for a blood draw. And the strains that we're testing are only if you have had COVID before, not actively. And so those 3 strains are, one of them I believe is from 3 to 6 months that you had it. Another one is about 1 to 2 months. And then the last one is within 1 month. And so this is supposed to prove in certain doctors' opinions if there's going to be an immunity to this eventually. The CDC has not said that this is something that's been proven by science, but certain doctors, especially in the integrative health field, are trying to prove that there can be an immunity to this virus. But again, that's highly debatable right now. So in our experience so far, we've tested around 400 people plus. We've only had 1 person come back with actual COVID-19 antibodies, meaning they have had it in the past 6 months. We've had 1 person come back with a titer, which basically means a possibility that they have had it, but it's mostly unknown. And again, this is testing to see if people have had it in the past and how we can move forward. Because this is the first time in history that people who are not sick are being quarantined. And so we're trying to change the status quo with collecting as much data as possible.
Thank you so much for sharing. We really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Switching gears, what are some encouraging words you have for those that are watching? And what ways have you entertained or enjoyed your time while you're not at work?
So I've been working mostly full-time since the Shelter-in-Place Act has happened. And the time that I have had off, I have decided that it's best to take care of yourself, because this is a gift that we are having this time, and we need to amplify that by taking the most self-care we can. Instead of ruining ourselves, we should take this time to really embrace all the things that we can learn, we can change about ourselves, and we can continue to be open about. It's throughout history, leaders who have gone through these kind of really hard crises and times have proven that they are the best leaders because they have stuck to what they believe in and their commitments. And some of these people can be Gandhi, Jesus, Mother Teresa, and Baha'u'llah. And so all of these different people have stuck to what they believe in and who they are. And that is really the core foundation of what this crisis is making certain people realize and certain people go away from. So I've been trying to focus on myself, on doing things that are helpful to me and don't hinder me, like dancing and reading and working out and eating right and stuff like that. So
and then you had also mentioned that you're walking to work now, and you said it was a couple miles. Has that been nice for you to kind of get that moment before work and be able to kind of clear out everything and be prepared?
Yes, definitely. There's a lot of different things that all of us deal with, especially people in the medical field. So it's been nice. I walk 3 miles to work and then I walk 3 miles back, and I've really taken this time to listen to different podcasts and people's perspectives. So it's been a really good experience for me so far, and I've been focusing on improving myself and not hindering myself. And I hope that when other people hear this, they can know that this is their time to really rise above it all, and it doesn't matter what's happening in the world. You have the power within yourself to be self-fulfilled and have your own self-love and worth. So, yeah.
That made me cry. It's so beautiful, Zena. Thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it. And I do hope that everyone gets a good positive message out of this. And I'll see you next time.
Bye.